This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
After today's race is over, it will mark the halfway point of the season. Olenek has the opportunity to build enough of a points lead to be a full win ahead of his rivals. But winning from any position other than the pole will require incredible skill or a bit of luck. Brands Hatch is a fitting place for the Lotus, but it's still extremely hard to overtake here. We'll see if the pole sitter can manage to run away with it as we get ready to watch round 6 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legends Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is multi-time Grand Prix Legends champion Mick Claridge. Behind the scenes is our director Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Mick, I suppose you could count this as a home circuit with it being so close to London, so tell us a little bit about Brands Hatch.
Yep, Joe, this is definitely my home circuit. Silverstone may be the UK's main track these days, but Brands is absolutely perfect for spectators and drivers. The Indy circuit lies in a natural amphitheatre, so you can pretty much see the whole track from wherever you're standing or sitting at this place. Today we're using the Grand Prix layout, so there's a couple of things to mention. Joe, even as the lap starts on the front straight, there's problems today. The front straight here is definitely not straight, and the guys are going to have a bit of you're going to have to be a bit careful getting up to speed down there because the car gets really light, especially going up from 3rd to 4th gear. Turn 1 Paddock Hill bend, that's a tricky corner in any car, but with the 49, it's got an added kick to it because the car actually bottoms out on the exit. Now, if you bottom out too much, all you've got to look forward to is either a gravel trap on the left or an Armco barrier on the right, so I expect to see some carnage through there. There's good overtaking down the inside into Druids, especially on the first lap, and then there's a couple of turns later you've got Surtees, and that's a really difficult left-hander. Now, I was speaking to him earlier. I know everyone's going to be really pleased to see Uwe Trengerade is here racing today, so we're definitely going to see at least one car going sideways around that corner today. Down the back straight and off around the back of the circuit really doesn't get much easier, with loads of chances to mess up and run wide. So for a much better view and description of the circuit, let's jump on board the GSRC Lotus 49 for a lap around Brands Hatch Grand Prix layout.
All right, we're in the GSRC Lotus 49, so let's do a lap around Brands Hatch. Paddock Hill Bend is incredibly difficult to squeeze the most out of in this car. It's bouncing around on entry, it's a curved braking zone, and then the track drops away too. Ease back onto the power smooth and let the compression cause the car to grip. Druid should make for a potential passing zone, but the braking is heavily shortened by the uphill nature. Like any hairpin, square this one off, but in this car, it doesn't always pay off to track out all the way. You have so little time to switch sides for Graham Hill Bend, and this car needs to be settled. Make sure to use up the runoff to the outside, as that's fair game and it helps you carry your speed. Then it's a short blast down to Surtees, where once again the track curves as you get to the binders. A late apex tends to pay off, but even if you straight line it, the car likes to lose traction. And that can really hurt on the run over Pilgrim's Drop, which is the fastest section of the track. But despite the top end, the braking for Hawthorne is pretty short due to the compression and the fact that the corner is just plain fast. Coming out of there, hold to the left and really focus on your markers because the back half of the track is punishing. Westfield is very blind on entry and the car struggles to find grip on exit. Expect drivers to short shift just to find traction. Dingledale and Sheen are just as treacherous, and the apex isn't visible until you're right on top of it. Once again, not much time to set yourself up for Sterling, where you really need to use the banking to carry your speed. Getting a run off the corner is important because otherwise you could be susceptible to attack into Clark. The crest makes the car understeer mid-corner, and then you'll be fighting to keep the car stable as you get back on the gas. A little lift is needed on the Brabham straight, but hopefully you've now finished a lap around Brands Hatch.
That should show you how much the car dances around like Mick was talking about, and it'll certainly be tricky in a number of places. This is a very treacherous course for this car with its high speeds and a lot of elevation change. Now, let's take a glance, of course, at the various championships, starting with the Formula One championship. Up at the top, I mentioned Rob Olenek doing very well, but it has not been a perfect season, and he missed last round. So that was an absolute zero for him. And he's got to stay safe for much of the season to really keep himself in the hunt. That drop round has saved him, keep him those 45 points up. Marco Kika, though, is the one that is now challenging him. But Gary Teal has been looking very strong lately. Dave Price has been good, but he's not on the top 5 here. Sadro's consistent. Sightveger has been in and out in terms of attendance, but he is here today, so he could also come back into the mix over the course of the season, depending. Now let's look at the Formula 2 championship as well. David Rossi and Bill Tyler are a lot closer than what we saw in the F1, but don't count out Tremblay. 10 points separating the top 3, and we're halfway through. Bruno and Good round out those top 10, but they're a ways back, and they're going to have to start getting some much better points if they want to contend for this F2 championship. We also have a Constructors Championship in the series. Now, it's a Nations Cup, really, as you can see on our graphic, which is how they used to do it back in 1967 instead of by Constructors. And the United States, because of Rob Olenek's success, is well ahead. The UK trying to chase them down. I expect Finland to really be the main one to challenge Rob and the U.S. Germany as well could get into things, but Canada is the last of our top 5 to round that out. Now, taking a look at the race details as well for today. We are in round 6, as we mentioned, and 24 laps are on tap here at Brands Hatch, as you can figure out from what Mick was talking about before. That is open setup in this series. Drivers can tweak it to their liking, and that will be something we'll be discussing a bit because Mick's noticed some interesting things about the drivers' philosophies this week, and the points go down to 25th. They do have an incident cap as well that they need to worry about, which you can rack up depending on where you get those offs around here. Now, we're watching once again, as we have all season long and will for the rest of the season, on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure and subscribe when you get the opportunity. All you got to do is click the big red button that says subscribe, and you won't miss a moment here on the IESN. Mick, we were discussing the setups before we went live, and I said that you noticed some things, and you were hoping that Rob Olenek would get pole. And even though only one of his laps counted, I think you might get your wish here.
Yeah, I was just wondering, has everyone just behind him done their second laps? Great to see Rob on pole there. But yeah, it looks like Angelico Pavlels is coming around. That'll finish his lap. See how he does.
It's a 22.153, and it doesn't improve Roman's position. He stays in third. Dave Price is actually on the front row. It is very, very tight. In fact, the top 4 are separated by 1/10. With this being such a hard place to pass, I think we're set up for a stunner here. This is going to be a train.
Yeah, I knew this was going to happen, Joe. I was talking to you just before we went live there. Yeah, I'm really expecting a really great battle up front there today.
We're watching Sightveger now. He could spoil the party. He's on his second lap and getting ready to finish it. Let's see what this one has in store. Across the line, a 21.9, and that is on pole. Wow. That does spoil the party then.
Well, that is how you do that, Joe, because I've not seen him once this week in practice. So he's on fire today.
Almost everybody's got their laps in with how quickly they go by out here. In fact, yeah, everybody who can set a lap has set a lap. And with this large field, it's time to go through the grid for today because this is a decent size for a small track like this. Your pole sitter is Stefan Sightveger, with Rob Olenek starting on the outside of him, with Dave Price now bumped into third. Outside of the second row, Roman Pawlowski in there. And don't forget Ove Traingrade that Mick was mentioning. He'll be starting in 5th. Heavy hitters up at the front today. This is going to be fantastic. Daniel Sadro could find himself with some opportunities depending on if people tangle in front of him. He'll start 6th. Ian Haycox will be P7. Peter Mikus, I'm surprised to see him as far down as he is. He was quick in practice, but he's only 8th here in qualifying. Billy Bob Wright starts in 9th, and Marco Kika, another surprise, only 10th for him.
Just looking now, Bill Tyler in 11th. I think that's our first of our F2 drivers, so that's a good qualifying for him. Tommy Unhurler is back for some more hurt from Suzuka. A horrible race at Suzuka he had. Bruce Nelson follows him. Paolo Bremi. Antonio Rees is back. Marlon Williams is back. And Pascal Tremblay, that's the next F2 driver I recognise who's in the battle hunt for the championship there. Then we go Andres Bruno in 18th. Andrew Eng in 19th, the regular. Telmo Aral in 20th place.
21st goes to Colin Coker with Dave Cohen next to him. Marco Ravioli in 23rd. And the last driver to get a time in qualifying is Gary Anderson in 24th. Colin Bentley, Don Good, and Julio Fricolan round out a 27-car field here today as they're starting to grid up now. Mick, this, you can't get much more classic than this. The 49 at a place like Brands Hatch. This just feels like old school F1.
It is. It's totally old school F1, isn't it? Yeah, they actually ran here in 1968. If anyone wants to look at how the real car handles here, just go and check out on YouTube. But Joe, I'm just expecting at least a couple of front runners here to have a little dive down into Druids on lap 1 there. Just watch out.
We'll see if anybody is going to try and risk it with opportunities being sparse. As it could try risky moves with everybody close here at the first few laps. You can see the rest of them gridding up. We're just waiting on about 4 or 5 cars to get out there. It is a very short run up to our first corner, Paddock Hill Bend, and it is incredibly blind up and over it. It has caused problems in the past in pretty much every series we've seen race here at that first corner, trying to get that sorted out. So as just Pawlowski and Andrew Nhola are left to put themselves on the starting grid, there you see them, all 27 just about lined up. Pawlowski joins us. Nhola, who's starting in the 12th position, still waiting to get going. He's not got much time left, so he'll want to plop his car on the grid. I see Williams not out there now as well, so Williams must have had an issue down in 21st. There we go. Last of them get out onto the grid. So the engines start to rev. The lights come up here for round 6 at Brands Hatch. Green flag is out. Stefan Zeitweger with a good start off the line. Immediately goes to try and cover off Olenek by getting off to the racing line, but he's a little bit wide, and Olenek is nice and tight down there. He gets to the inside. He's got the lead before they even get to the braking of Druids. Everybody bunching up behind them, trying to sort themselves out as well as they come around the hairpin. And I'm seeing it clean so far, but up at the front, Rob Olenek, your new leader.
Just watch how he gets round 30s now, just watching that entry. Oh, someone's off in the background. They're on the roof. Oh, I don't know who that was.
Few of them. Looks like Anderson involved and Coker as well. We'll get back to it in a little bit. Reese, I see, and Bill Tyler also with issues.
Well, Rob's going to have his work cut out now. Stefan's on fire in qualifying. He's right on his gearbox now as well. Stefan's got a nice little turn in as well, you know. Car looks really nice and pointy. What was saying about Rob's setup earlier this week, Joe? We'll talk about that a little bit later if it comes apparent.
And they come around to complete lap 1 out of Sterling and to clear Reyes and Clark. Olenek still ahead of Zeitweger, but also about a second ahead of 3rd place. Oh, and they got a battle for 5th. I think that's Mikus and Trangerade, and it looks like the Norwegian is going to come out on top. So that gives him 5th place as they come back to Paddock Hill Bend for the 2nd time in this race. Anybody going to make a mistake like we saw with Zeitweger? It's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, everyone's nice and smooth there, aren't they? All the way back to, let's see who it was. It is Oh, I looked just saw Paolo Bremi just lost it badly into the 30s at Air Druid. So
And Billy Bob Wright is having an almighty tumble. He is done. He's taken a tow. Let's take a look at the replay here. The number 12 looks like he just gets loose all on his own out of Graham Hill Bend.
yeah, that's a bit puzzling, that one. I'm not sure what happened there. Just it looked smooth, didn't it? It didn't look like it snapped on him. It just, yeah, just a smooth sort of slide off the side of the track there, and yeah, that's all it is. That's, yeah, game over.
Currently up at the front, Olenek still leading Sightveger by about half a second now. With him having pulled a little bit of a gap, I think we've got time to go back to the replay of that big accident at the start. Let's see if we can pull that one up. I know I saw Bill Tyler involved. I think we heard Anderson was in it. I want to say Tyler was the one on the lid. Reese as well. Yeah, Tyler was the one that went onto his lid, and he was part of the initial incident here. You see Tyler in the green and white number 13. Everything looks fine here, Mick, around Druids, and I think he clips tires. Ooh, he gets hit from the back.
Oh yeah, wow.
And then a few other drivers just got into it behind him as we come back to third place with Dave Price being pressured by Pawlowski. Oh, but Pawlowski gets loose out of Hawthorne, so he falls back before they can reach Westfield.
Yeah, and Peter Mickles was all over him there, on it as well. This is looking like it's going to be a nice battle.
Yeah, got a lot of cars close to one another. Pawlowski followed by Mikus, and then you've got a bit of a train behind them. Sadra, who's in 6th, is followed by Trangrade, Haycox, and Kika. So the top 10 have remained relatively close together. As we watch from Trangrade's perspective here, this is looking up at Sadra, who's awful close to the back of his gearbox coming down through Paddock Hill Bend, but off and wide goes Trangrade. Loses an opportunity before they break for Druids. This has been an attrition-filled first few laps. Looking down at the bottom of our timing and scoring, I'm seeing Wright and Hola, Tremblay, Tyler, Reese, and I think Coker just had a problem just now. This was out of Clark. He was battling with Anderson, who's having all types of connection issues. Oh, it looks like we went too far back. This was out of the final corner, so regardless, it was just a spin, and then Coker finds himself in 22nd.
Yeah, he was already, he had it damaged anyway, didn't he, Joe? He already had the nose missing off the car there, looks like.
Yeah, not a very good day for Coker, clearly. Let's head back to that battle between Sadro and Trangrade and all those behind him. Really a bunch of cars here up at the front of the pack and doing exactly what we expected, Mick, just basically getting in line and waiting for a mistake from the car ahead.
Yeah, I guarantee you, guys, these guys are all on the limit. You know, they're really pushing. I just saw Sadro then just lose the rear end coming out of Druids. Yeah, they're really going for it. Really tough to get the power down through these corners, especially now coming down to 30s. Wide entry, you know, you need a really wide entry, just like Uber's done there. Pull it in tight from the exit and try and get your foot down hard and try not to lose the back end. It's really tough, but yeah, like I say, Joe, these guys are all on it. It might look equal between them, and you know, but these guys are really pushing hard.
Sadro managing to get himself a little bit of a gap compared to the rest. He's pulled nearly a second away from Trangrade now to come down through Dingledale and up towards Sheen. Incredibly blind corner, easy to throw it off course, but all four are spot on through there. Oh, and not spot on out of Sterling, though. That was Ian Haycox we saw go off. That's going to lose him a spot to Kika. So move the number 8 into 8th position. The Finn gains one. Let's take a look and see what happened there. Just out of the corner of my eye, I happened to catch Haycox going wide.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of he lost the rear going in, and that just pushed his car wide. Tried to get on the power on the exit, but yeah, it's really hard to get on the power there where you're sort of 6 feet away from the apex. You know, you just can't keep your momentum up there. Lucky he didn't spin there, to be honest.
Yeah, kept his head together and kept the car pointed forward. So he's still in this and still amongst the train. Let's glance back up at our leaders since we haven't looked at them in a while. Olenek has been holding that half a second ahead of Sightveger pretty consistently now. So I almost wonder, Mick, if maybe Stefan is simply just kind of putting himself into position, giving it a little bit of a gap in case Rob has an oops, and maybe just waiting for something to happen here?
Yeah, you might be right there, Joe. It's a good chance to talk about Rob now. Basically, he sent a setup out on Thursday, what he was running, and he sent it to me and told me not to change anything. And I said, look, I can't drive this without changing at least the tyre pressures. Did that, and this setup that he's running today is absolutely insane. He's got super tough front springs on the front of this car and super soft rears, and the car is absolutely planted. And to be honest with you, Joe, I just really cannot believe he's getting it round the corners as well as he is, because the setup just reads as understeer as it can read. You know, it's just so unconventional what he's driving today.
Oh, he seems to have lost some time. Don't need to go to it, but Giulio Fricolan had a spin and hit the wall out of Surtees. But Sightveger, who I said has been holding it about 5 to 6 tenths behind, is suddenly caught back up. Meanwhile, we jump back down to third position. Dave Price, our winner from last round, being hounded by Roman Pawlowski, who himself now has Mikus, who's caught up to him.
Yeah, Roman was a bit wide coming off the back straight there. I've done that myself in the real car. Peter Mikus will saw blood there. He's looking quite handy now, Mikus, nicely through there. Oh, Roman was really quick across the track there, darting across there. Nice exit from all three guys now. Down into the last turn onto the front straight. Just what I was saying, Joe, this isn't full throttle yet, not by a long shot. Maybe now they're able just to get down on the power properly. Then they have to watch out just as they hit that bump there, and another one there right in the braking zone. Roman's really tight up against Dave now as they go into turn one. Watch out for Roman, he's really late on the brakes now into Druids normally.
Not late enough, it looks like. He doesn't give a go into that hairpin, so Price is going to retain that third place, but they are awful close, all within barely more than a car length apart from each other. Great exit out of Graham Hill Bend for Dave Price as they now swing it through Surtees, and he's the only one to be able to find the apex out of those three. In fact, Roman Pawlowski now heavily under threat as Peter Mikus, we ride on board with the Finn, looking and deciding it's better to not try and move into Hawthorne.
I was just going to say, Joe, out of the three of the guys here, I don't envy being Roman at all. You know, he's got trying to look to see what's going on with Dave in front of him, but also looking in the mirrors and looking to see where he's got to go and hit his marks and all the rest of it. You know, it's the worst place to be. You know, Dave, I don't really envy Dave either too much. He's just looking in his mirrors at two cars behind him. Out of the three of them, I'd rather be Peter Mikus now. I just couldn't quite see because I went under the bridge there, but looked like Peter Mikus had a really good exit out of the corner there. Oh, Roman's one wide. Oh, he's off.
That's two corners in a row that Roman made mistakes, and that is all Mikus needed to grab fourth place. A wiggle both in Sterling and at Clearways gave that away. Back to our leaders now. Sightveger retaining that 0.3 of a second gap up to Rob Olenek. And you mentioned hitting your marks, saying that you've gotten to drive here in real life. I mean, does the sim do the blind apexes justice around here? Because I can't believe people send cars over those things at full speed.
I'll tell you, Joe, I've been lucky enough to have a ride in a almost a British touring car around here, and it is just insane. One thing that sticks out in my mind is how good iRacing are at scanning tracks. It just looks exactly as it does in real life.
Taking a look at Snelson. This is Colin Bentley giving chase for 13th position down in the mid-pack. They've also, you can see flashes of Bruno and Good just behind them. So these are some of our F2 drivers involved in this mix. And again, that F2 championship counts for overall points. So you don't get full 50 points for being the first F2 driver. You get wherever you finish, and every position matters.
I was just going to say, isn't Don Good actually in his position now against Andres Bruno in the championship? This is where they lie, I think. Yeah, so Don's going to have to try and get something going here.
Meanwhile, as we look a little bit higher up, this is Sadro being passed by Trangerade up into Druids, and successfully as well. Sneaky move down to the inside, just taking advantage and set it up perfectly.
Yeah, and all that was Daniel was a bit worried about the exit of Paddock Hill then, and he really went for it on the exit and took a bit too much of that curb. He's lost the back end now going in on the back straight, and Uber's probably, I'm guessing, going to edge away now. As everyone knows, Uber's a veteran and he's one of the quickest guys out there, so I think it's going to be quite tough for Daniel to be able to catch him now.
Actually, I wonder if Trangerade could catch Pawlowski, because it's about 3.5 seconds up. With plenty of laps left to go. He could try to run him down, but he's got some work to do. So watch these two come around Sheen into Sterling one more time.
It's amazing how much curb you can take there on the left-hand side there, Joe. You really can. It's got so much camber there. Onto the front straight now again. Let's just check out Uber's lap time. Won't be a real reflection of his pace now.
Yeah,
maybe better to look at it next lap.
Yeah, the battling with Sadro probably slowed him down a little bit. Actually, he just set his fastest lap of the race that time, apparently.
Oh, there you go.
There goes that. A 22.5 compared to Pawlowski, a 22.3. So maybe he was being held up, and that's why it was his quickest lap so far. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. I can report that Sightveger has dropped back from Olenek since we last looked. It went from those 0.3 of a second down to 0.8, and now as soon as I say that, he's bumped it back down to 0.4 of a second. So yo-yoing back and forth, the number one chasing the number two, but not having an opportunity for a pass quite yet. Meanwhile, what was that on screen? Oh, that was lapped cars, excuse me.
Yeah, I've just been watching Rob, and it's just as I thought. I mean, I haven't seen him lose the back end once yet. This is Rob at his best, and it's Carl's setup. Honestly, I don't know how he's getting around here so fast with that setup. If he's using the same one, bless him. But just look how solid he is. I mean, he hasn't lost the rear end once on that car.
And we've seen him withstand some great pressure to take wins before, so I wouldn't be too surprised. We need to go back to Peter Mikus, though, because he's not just overtaken Pawlowski. Now he is working on Dave Price, looking to set him up for an over-under, but Price tucks it nice and down into the apex and denies him the opportunity. Gets very close to his gearbox, braking for Druids. Doesn't run into him, but causes him to have to back up a little bit.
Yeah, I remember last week at Suzuka, we saw Dave defending into the last chicane, one of the best defence I've ever seen any driver do. I think it's going to be quite tough for Peter, even if he gets a run here. Dave's on the ball with this. Peter Mick was 3/10 faster that last lap.
And Haycox had an accident in turn one in Paddock Hill Bend. Ian Haycox, unfortunately, slamming the tire barrier. You can see that's the results of it. Is the car very damaged. I think he had to take a tow in the end. There it is right there. It looks like overtaking lap traffic. He just was offline.
Yeah, Dave Cohen gave him plenty of room there. No fault on Dave's there. It was just unsighted Ian for a little while there, I reckon.
Oof. And that certainly messed up his suspension. He's actually taken the Indy circuit to get back around, just so that he doesn't have to try and drive it all the way home. So he'll get a big penalty, but I don't think he really cares about that now. Traffic now coming into play with our battle for the leaders. That's Tremblay. Ooh, that's going to hurt on his F2 championship with him being 2 laps down already. Sightveger's still behind. Up and around Surtees. Sightveger. There you see the dark black and white machine. Olenek and the tiger-themed car, the orange and black. Oh, and Kika's come into the pits. Did something happen to Marco Kika? I'm checking to see. Oh, Kika, it's a little bit too far back for a replay, but coming out of Surtees' last lap, he had to take avoiding action from a spinning car. That was Cohen. And it sent Kika into the wall. He's since towed and called it a day. He's out of the car and out of the session.
Yeah, just watching myself, Joe. The steering's way out of shape now. Yeah, you can't drive like that when the car's that damaged. Unlucky for him there.
Wow, this is... My goodness, how many cars do we still have running? 18 left at the moment out of 27 starters. And we are only just barely halfway.
And no one,
past halfway.
Nobody's actually lost it in turn 1 on the exit yet, have they? I'm still waiting for that.
Ooh, Bruce Nelson just got a position over Peter Brame. This is down in 8th position. Paolo Brame had a big moment coming out of Sterling. Let's take a look at that one more time. Already slow there. Oh, and Snelson already had a nose in. Whew. And 23 just about does the same thing the Haycocks did.
Yeah, Paolo lost it. I think he actually tried to make the apex there, but I think he just lost the rear end going on the way into the left-hander. Yeah, he was right on the limit there. The car was floating in between oversteer and understeer there, and Bruce just saw blood there. Go Snelly.
Back to the battle for third. This is for the final spot on the podium. Mikus once again trying to set himself up. Look at Price start to cover him off. Duck down to the inside. Keeps it firmly in the middle of the road to deny him any opportunities. Peter maybe pull the over-under this time through. He's certainly got a good launch. But he's not willing to risk it up into Druids.
I could actually see Dave's virtual head looking in the mirrors there. I could just see the car moving around. If he knew Pete was going to go for the inside there, Dave's going to have it covered off.
Still right with him. This has been a lot tighter than the battle for the lead, but this time Peter way wide. And that will certainly hurt his opportunity. Dave Price now starts to stretch away by a little bit.
Yeah, Dave was super nice there into Surtees. Wow, Peter Micker's really late on the brakes there, and he's run quite wide.
A little bit farther down in 11th, Brame is not out of the woods after being overtaken. He's still got Andrew Ang behind him. In fact, this is for 11th place. And they've also got Bruno in there as well. So if they start fighting, could become a 3-car battle very easily. And another problem from Brame. He is not looking good today. This is relatively sticky conditions. We've got 71 degrees Fahrenheit on the track with it being late in the evening, at least in terms of the fall, as this is set in the virtual October.
Yeah, it's been like this all week, Joe. The temperature's no surprise to anyone this week. Everyone's been practicing this type of weather. Only seen one overcast session, but yeah, it's all been around 70-odd degrees.
It's about 4:30 p.m. virtual standard time out here, just outside of London. We'll switch back to Price leading ahead of Peter Mikus. Down to less than 10 laps to go at this point. Mikus, who I criticized for having a poor qualifying, is certainly making up for it in the race, going from 8th on the grid, now looking at a potential podium.
loses a rear there really badly on the way down the hill into the right-hander now. Just really trying to scrabble. I'm just wondering, Joe, I mean, we don't really know this guy yet. You know, is he going to make a late lunge? I'm not sure.
Once again, Price covering him off and almost squeezing him to the outside when it gets close to the braking there. Back onto the front stretch. And he's close. I keep seeing him going a little bit wider. I keep thinking at one of these points he's going to manage to get that launch up to Druids.
Yeah, that's a perfect line. I was going to say that myself, Joe. In the real world, if you ever come here to Brands and you watch cars going into Paddock Hill, that's the line they take. Everyone takes that wide line. Oh, there's a car off. Oh, is that Sightmaker?
That's Sightmaker. Yeah. He is down to 5th now, and he gets it going once again. Was this his own mistake? No, it was a pass attempt. Olenek went wide in Druids, and they actually came together.
Yeah, Stefan's got a chunk full of understeer there as he's coming off the corner there. Yeah. Oh, it's horrible. What a horrible hit. Oh, the pair of them would never have wanted to do that.
Saw an opportunity, tried to take it, and unfortunately, it went south. So Olenek now has a nice little space between himself and Price, who gets bumped to 2nd place, about 2.5 seconds there.
Yeah, just doing my little bit of homework now. Just sitting on board with Rob. The steering looks nice and straight, so no damage for Rob there.
I wonder if Sightmaker can try and recover if he has any damage from that. Going back to 12th position, Andre Bruno, who was looking on Bream, has fallen back from him, and now it's Ang instead that he is trying to defend from for that 12th spot. Ang used to be right up on that gearbox, and looks like he's recently lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, he's gained a bit though there. I was just watching there. Yeah, Andres Bruno was really slow into the right-hander there. Now they're coming back out onto the almost touching onto the Indy circuit as they go under the bridge. Yeah, Andrew has lost a little bit there, but yeah, weird braking there from Andres Bruno really early.
Really our closest battle still for that 2nd place between Price and Mikus. And I think they're starting to be caught by Pawlowski. We've got it down to within under a second. Laps ticking away here at Brands Hatch. Oh, this is looking like a good run from Mikus. He's tucked up underneath, but once again, Price just making life difficult for the Finn. Looks to try and see if he can get the launch onto the front stretch. He does get the launch. He is right there. There's just nowhere to go. Having to be ultra defensive. Dave Price is under incredible pressure.
Yeah, this is great stuff from both drivers. Is he going to go? Oh,
and he gets into him.
Oh, commentator's curse, Joe.
Pawlowski waves goodbye to both and jumps up to 2nd place out of that. Look at that. He has no qualms about taking advantage of that one. Wow, that rear end of that car got way up in the air. From Mikus's perspective. Oof. From what I've seen of Peter, though, I mean, I don't think he's going to feel good about that happening.
No,
Definitely.
I don't think he'll feel good about it even. No, it's a horrible one. Everyone's done it though, haven't they, Joe? You know, have you done that before? I have.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's nasty.
As we come back to Rob Olenek, still our leader, and actually, because of that incident, has pulled away now from 2nd place. It's 3.5 seconds. So while Rob dealt with a lot of pressure himself, the number 2 car is just at this point sailing home. All he has to do is keep it clean and get around the lap traffic for the remaining laps.
Well, here's the thing, Joe. Roman obviously capitalised on that. He just went past both of them. But that Dave Price, Peter Mikus batters is still on. They're still there fighting it.
Yeah, he's allowed him to keep the position and Didn't want to try and go by as Mikus is looking a little bit uncertain. That was an almighty slide. Let's take another look at that one. Oof. Did a great job catching that, honestly.
Yeah, how quick has this guy learnt the intricacies of the Lotus 49? You know, Joe, it's just I'm super impressed with this guy. Yeah, he's stuffed up there with Dave, but you know they're on the limit. You know, they're racing hard. You know, I'm really impressed with him.
And in relative terms, he's something of a newcomer, though we've seen him race for a number of races now. But I'm really impressed with this number 7. Like you said, in the way that he has come forward in this car. So he continues to see if he can find some way around Dave Price. UKNI driver is making this home course very much home ground for himself. And not willing to give up the ramparts quite yet.
I was just watching Marco Ravioli then, back marker. Peter Mikus is really late on the brakes again into Druids. It was a good job. There was a bit of a space between him and Dave there.
Ooh, and Sightveger is back on to try and see if he can regain ground. It looks like he just made a mistake, though, because he was right up close. Oh, you know what? He made an attempt. This is into Druids if we want to see a replay. Boy, he's going to come away not being a big fan of Druid's corner, because last time it all went south there. And then for a second time, this one, much more his own fault, I'd say.
Yeah, pretty easy to do. It's pretty much what Peter Mikus has just done. Unfortunately for Mikus, Dave was in front of him. But yeah, it is really easy to do there, Joe.
So he went off course, got it back going, and now has to make up the second just to get to the top 5 here. I said that Sightveger, with his lack of attendance, is going to have to really work on things as we come back to Mikus working on Price down into the first corner. Ooh, this one looking a little bit better potentially. He's got a great launch. He's going to look to the inside, but he's not brave enough on the brakes to get side by side in Druids.
Yeah, that was one of those horrible moments, wasn't it? I didn't know if Dave was going to turn in on him or there, or you know, Dave did have a nice braking zone there, and he was able to just get in front of him. Let's see how they go down in round 30s. Everyone's getting used to this 30s corner now. It's a tough corner, you know, to get onto the back straight. As they hammer it down now, probably up around, let's have a look, 150, 160, maybe 170 miles an hour as they hit the brakes. Oh, Peter Mikus is really late on the brakes again. Oh, wall of death around the outside.
Looks like he's getting a little anxious in there. Oh, and he's wide once more. That car is not looking good anymore, and he's fallen back to nearly a second behind. He's been faster, but with only 3 laps to go, he's now both got to catch him and then pass him in only those few laps. So I don't know whether Peter has got it in him to get onto this podium or not.
Yeah, he just lost the back end again, just coming down underneath the bridge now. Yeah, you haven't got long enough now to do. Oh, he's still losing the back end on the front straight. It's exactly what I was talking about, Joe. The front straight is not flat out in this car until you get sort of halfway down it, you know, up into the top gears. So it's really tough. Maybe Peter's just overheating the tyres a little bit now. Really pushing hard, look.
I feel like there's shockingly few places where you can be fully on the throttle around this circuit. There's not many actual straights around here.
No, and even where they're coming now onto the back straight, as they turn in, you know, you really have to feed the power in now. You're full throttle now, up to 3rd gear, full throttle. But this little kink, if you've got a scary power ramp in the car, you have to watch out for that kink there. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the only, well, it is the only car on the service. It's probably one of the only cars on the planet where you're not full power down there.
Well, we are getting the white flag here soon with Rob Olenek. This is going to be a triumphant moment, and I believe his 4th win of the season, if he can just bring this home. He continues to weave his way around some of the lap traffic with so many cars having issues. Speaking of which, looks like Andre Bruno, the latest to have one, as he ducks into the pits. We'll check into that a little bit later. Right now, we need a triumphant moment with Robbo, as he's been dubbed recently. 4 seconds back to Pavlowski. Big rival for him is that's Telmo Amaral going off course to let him through there through Druids. But he missed last week. That was a drop week for him. Other than that, it's been something of a dominant season. Almost taking up your torch, Mick. He's sort of stepped into your shoes and been able to show the field how it's done.
He's been really good this season so far, hasn't he, Joe? Just keeping a little eye on this Peter Mickers Dave Price battle. There's a couple of back markers ahead. This could be on for the last part of this lap.
Take a quick glance. Dave Goose having regained the ground, but boy, it's going to take a hard lunge with them still about half a second back and not many passing opportunities on the back half of the course. In fact, Rob has got one corner to go himself. You can see coming out of Sterling up towards Clearways and Clark. All he has to do is just apply the throttle nice and easy up to the finish line. Rob Olenek with his 4th win of the season out of 6 rounds.
Look at Dave Price and Peter Mickers. Oh, Dave Price is just going to get 2nd place here. I was screaming without the push to talk button press there. Peter Mickers was alongside Dave for a good chunk of that last part of that lap there. Might be worth a replay there.
And that was 3rd that actually Price got Pavlowski with a 2nd place. Let's take a look at that pass attempt. We've got time, not many battles behind them, it looks like.
Yeah, Dave ran really wide and Peter Mickers just saw it and he really went for it there. I thought he was going to get it.
Great stuff between the two of them. It was through Sterling that this happened here. You can see the latter half of it coming out of Clearways. Got to give credit to Peter. He gave it his all. And Dave Price responded with everything he had. In the end, it was just marginally better than what Peter had underneath. But that's pretty much everybody across the line at this point. So let's take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around, though, because we'll have all the upcoming races here on the GSRC.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
back to Brands Hatch. We just watched round 6, and we're now halfway through the season for the Grand Prix Legends. In the end, Rob did not put it on pole, but Robbo took the win here today with a cunning pass in the very first lap. And it wasn't the pole sitter who even finished second. Roman Pawlowski sneaking through for a second place and keeping himself in contention. Dave Price with a very hard-fought third place over the charging Peter Mikus. The Finn came from 8th up to 4th and almost managed to get onto the podium, but in the end, just a couple tenths between himself and Price. Trangrade rounding out your top 5 just ahead of our pole sitter. That's where he finally wound up. Stefan Zeitweger got into it with Rob Olenek with an attempted pass in Druids. It went south, and unfortunately, that sent him all the way down the order. Daniel Sadro took P7. Another driver to come forward from his qualifying is Bruce Snelson, 13th to 8th for him. Colin Bentley takes P9, didn't get a lap time in, and winds up 9th out of 25th on the grid. Top 10 rounded out by Marlon Williams.
Yeah, Paolo Bremi, these F2 drivers are coming in now. Paolo Bremi in 11th, Andrew Eng, the regular, in 12th now. Don Good in 13th, Telmo Amaral in 14th, Andres Bruno in 15th, Marcus Ravoli, watched him getting out the way of the leaders in 16th there, Gary Anderson in 17th, Pascal Tremblay, he wound up in that first lap incident, didn't he? Not a good finish for him, and even worse one for Marco Kika there, one of our F1 drivers, down in 19th. Ian Haycock's another one who's had trouble today, down in 20th.
21st went to Dave Cohen with Colin Coker, getting the car back out, but limping it around for 22nd. Then you get to the DNFs for the day. Julia Colin in 23rd, Bill Tyler, Billy Bob Wright, Tommy Unhola. Man, what a miserable season for poor Tommy. And then Antonio Reese, who was involved in that opening incident last on the field. Our winner ready to talk to us here today, Rob Olenek with his 4th victory now out of 6 rounds. Just an incredible record so far, and certainly looking like he's on his way for a championship as we wait for Rob to join us here in
It's pretty amazing. It feels like more luck, maybe really fast guys not showing up early. This is the first time I actually felt like I was one of the fast guys this week, where like I had a shot at winning and there were some good guys in the field today. I felt really good with the car. I like my set so much I was sharing it with people. I was like proud of it.
Yeah, and speaking of your set, because Mick was talking about that a lot, he was really sort of flabbergasted by how you managed to drive it. What led you to go with such an extreme set? What was the motivation there?
I don't know if it's extreme. I think, like a lot of people say that about Mick's too. I think it's just a slightly different driving style. Like maybe we're on the brakes a little different, and mine rotates the way I want it to rotate. And his does it perfectly for him, obviously. I think Stefan was really quick. I was really lucky to get by him on the first corner. I'm not sure. Maybe he went a little deep on the brakes or something, and it pushed wide. And I got a good start, but I was going to just be conservative. And because I was going a little slower than normal on the outside, it just was like, wow, wide open opportunity here. So I took it. Normally, I'm not aggressive on the first lap at all. I just want to get through it and then go race.
Well, it certainly paid off because we've seen how tough it is to try and pass here. Tell us a little bit about the incident, though, where you two came together. It looked like slightly from our angle. Did you get any sort of damage, or was there no touch on your end?
In the race, it seemed like nothing happened, and I was like, "Where's Stefan?" Like I expected him still right beside me. It was my fault. I pushed wide, on the corner and started the whole thing. I broke a little too deep and was losing it. But I went and looked at it on the replay afterwards, and we definitely bumped rear tires, and he spun out, and I apologized. I felt bad for that. if I didn't screw up my line in the first corner, it never would have happened.
Well, I didn't see anything untoward on our end, but regardless, congratulations on another victory. Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I think guys like Mick and Michelle deserve the most thanks. Like, they helped so much. I definitely wouldn't be nearly.
You're
I wouldn't
quite
have the
welcome,
pace.
Rob.
Yeah, like, I mean, you guys help a lot. You guys, the series is awesome because of you guys. So, all right, that's it though. I mean, mainly the guys, everyone else in the series too, and everything. And you guys for broadcasting. This is definitely my favorite place to race.
That's put on some awesome shows, including today. That was our winner, Rob Olenek, out here today. And up next, we've got third place finisher Dave Price ready to talk to fellow Brit Mick Claridge.
Hi, Dave. Great to see you in the booth again, mate. Great racing today, mate. Really enjoyed that. You got a lot of TV time for some reason. Can you give us your rundown, mate, how you see it?
Yeah, hi, Mick. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you, mate.
Yeah, I didn't really have a lot of pace today. I don't particularly know why. I don't know if I went with slightly wrong tyre pressures. Maybe I went a little bit too high on the right hand side. I don't know, but I was really struggling. First 3 or 4 laps, I was absolutely all over the place, and eventually managed to calm things down a bit. But yeah, Peter was so quick behind me. I was just looking. He set the fastest lap of the race. Just looking at the race results there, and yeah, with a bit of contact a couple of times.
We noticed, mate. We noticed. Yeah, I was just saying, when we was watching the race, I just commented on your defence last week in Suzuka, and obviously we saw you defending quite a lot today. Did you have any laps where you sort of can't remember looking forwards?
Yeah, most of the second half of the race, I think. I must admit, the laps absolutely flew by for me. I couldn't believe when the marshal came up and said it was 5 laps to go, and I was quite relieved. But then, unfortunately, a little bit of contact coming into that tight hairpin with Peter, and Roman snuck through. So there you go. I probably didn't deserve anything more than a third today, looking at my pace. So.
Yeah, just quickly go through that last lap incident. Did you actually hit the grass out? We didn't actually see it from the beginning of the incident, but you ran wide in the left-hander there. What was that? What was the story there?
The story there was bad driving by me. I just lost it slightly on the brakes, so I couldn't turn in when I wanted to. And then if you don't, or you know yourself, if you don't get it turned in there, you just kind of go all the way around the outside like your mum does, sort of thing. And it was a real shame because Roman had a big incident coming out there as well. And if I'd have got through okay, I think I would have had a chance to challenge him into the last corner, which would have been fun. But yeah, it was just my mistake. There's no grass involved, just rubbish driving. Yeah,
no, like I said, Dave, great TV today, mate. Really good driving. Are we going to see you for the rest of the season, mate?
Yeah, some of it. I can't make the next race because I'm away. But I'll be back for Kota, I think it is next. So yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, we'll see you there, mate. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Take care.
That was Dave Price, third place and last step on the podium today. Going to be our last interview. Didn't get Roman in or any of the other drivers up towards the front. So we're going to close it up. And of course, a big thank you once again goes out to the Lotus 49 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. Also, a thank you to iRacing for putting us on IESN. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss a moment, especially here with the Grand Prix Legends series. You'll see a big red button that says subscribe. If you haven't yet, just click it and you get it all in your YouTube feed. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Mick, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on social media. Our Twitter is @GSR Channel, Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram, GSRC_Graham. Going to a new track for this series, Barcelona, over to Spain for the first time. That'll be Saturday, October 26th next week at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.